Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now with our main topic in the breakfast show. Egypt is intensifying its efforts and negotiations in order for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, and also to make sure of the delivery of all the humanitarian aid and supplies to the Gaza Strip and the civilians in the Gaza Strip. And we are shedding light in this segment on the latest development in the Gaza Strip and the deteriorating situation. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, His Excellency Ambassador Hussein Haridi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good morning, Your Excellency.
Good morning, ma'am.
Well, Your Excellency Ambassador Haridi, how do you see the situation, the escalating and deteriorating situation in the region with the U.S. British strikes that started last week and is continuing until yesterday for the Houthis in Yemen, and also the Houthi rebels targeting ships and vessels that are related to Israel or the United States in the Red Sea. Also the escalating situation in the border with Lebanon and Israel from Hezbollah. How did you see the effect that the war in Gaza is leaving on the region?
Well, of course, the Israeli aggression in Gaza for the last more than 100 days has given rise to a very serious and grave situation across the region, from southern Lebanon to the southern part of the Red Sea. And the American administration, in targeting the Houthis, I guess, is contributing to further escalation of tensions, of regional tensions in the Middle East and in the Red Sea. The main, and I would say the only, cause for this escalation is this Israeli war in Gaza. And on top of that, the Israelis keep threatening the Lebanese that if diplomacy fails in meeting the demands of Israel, then they have other options, meaning that they will resort to attacking Hezbollah and Lebanon. And so now, as long as the American administration is not convinced, or to put it in other words, it sees that the continuation of the Israeli war against the Palestinians in Gaza serves the interests of the United States in the region, then the Middle East and that part of the Red Sea, or the Red Sea as a whole, would always be prone to further escalation.
Yes,
so
Your Excellency.
We hope that the sooner the Biden administration realizes that giving license to the Israelis to continue their war against the Palestinians in Gaza, then I'm afraid that the Middle East has become a tinderbox.
Yes, Your Excellency Ambassador Haridi, also in the same point concerning the strikes from the U.S. and British strikes to the Houthi in Yemen, do you think the situation could go out of control?
Well, from an Egyptian point of view, I guess I'm afraid to say that we have reached this point. Now, the Suez Canal, the navigation in the Suez Canal has dropped almost by 40% compared to the same period last year. And this means that less foreign currency is entering our coffers. And of course, on top of that, there is this problem or this question of Ethiopia leasing a port in Somaliland for the next 50 years. A development that has unsettled the Corn of Africa and has raised fears as to the ultimate objectives of this move on the part of Ethiopia as far as security in the Red Sea is concerned. So I believe that the situation is really very, very, very serious, and our national security interests in Egypt have been threatened. And I would like to emphasize that what Israel is doing is really undermining peace prospects in the region in the medium and the long term, because it's very difficult to see how Arab public opinion would support any official move on the part of Arab governments to normalize relations with Israel, or even to talk about peace with Israel. With what we have seen in the Gaza Strip in the last more than 3 months, I guess has not encouraged those pro-peace movements, if I may use this term, the pro-peace voices in the Arab world. For the last 4 decades or more, we have been bombarded that Israel wants to live in peace, that Israel wants to coexist with the Arab neighbors. And of course, Arab countries were open to the idea, but they had conditions to reach peace agreements with Israel. And these conditions were or have been the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territories that Israel had occupied in 1967, and the establishment of a state of Palestine, an independent state of Palestine in Gaza and in the West Bank.
Yes.
So now, and with the latest statement by the Israeli Prime Minister 2 days ago, that he would never, and I'm quoting him, that he would never agree to the establishment of a Palestinian state. So Arab people, the Arabs everywhere, and particularly the youth, Arab youth, would say, why should we reach peace with Israel that rejects the idea of establishing an independent and a sovereign state of Palestine? So I guess the situation now in the Middle East, in light of the Israeli war against the Palestinians, is very serious. And if the Americans say that they are doing their best, that this war won't expand, I'm afraid to say that the war has already. We have already seen the escalation in the Middle East and in the Red Sea.
Yes, Your Excellency Ambassador Haridi, despite the efforts that Egypt is always exerting since the 7th of October and before this, of course, to negotiate on or to be a mediator, to put for a ceasefire and to help both sides, to help the Palestinians, and also the Israeli side for a ceasefire in order to give back their hostages who are being taken hostages by Hamas. Despite all the efforts Egypt is exerting, yet last week Israel accused Egypt of being responsible for closing the Rafah border and rejecting the entrance of the humanitarian aids. And Egypt slammed these allegations, of course, by the Israel accused Egypt in the criminal in the International Criminal Court, so the Court of Justice. So how did you see this stance from Israel?
Well, Egyptian authorities have made their position clear in answering the Israeli allegations before the International Court of Justice. And we have done, the Egyptian authorities have done that on various occasions. And they pointed out that the inspections by the Israelis of humanitarian shipments destined for Gaza, these inspections are the main reasons for the delay. Having said that, plus, of course, that security of the points of entry of these shipments into the Gaza Strip has always been undermined by attacks by the Israeli forces operating in Gaza. Of course, Egypt keeps calling for an immediate and a sustainable ceasefire in Gaza, but unfortunately, there is nothing on the horizon that indicates that we would see this immediate ceasefire in Gaza in the near future. So the situation would remain tense, and of course, the American administration has been preoccupied with, of course, the presidential election in the United States that has started with the primaries in Iowa last week. And during the Davos meeting, the United States Secretary of State did not speak of any ceasefire in the near future, and this is a situation that really is very alarming. But Egypt would continue, I think, calling for an immediate ceasefire, and it would, of course, be Rafah crossing with Gaza, which is the only crossing to and from Gaza still opened after Israel blockaded or put a blockade on the other crossings. Then I guess the Rafah crossing would remain operational. But of course, we under the constant shelling of the Israelis in the southern sector of the Gaza Strip.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. I really had the honor to have this phone with you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Hussein Haridi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A short break, and I'm going to be back with you to continue our program.